Alright, so welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our brand new lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we will try to cover the important news items in today's newspaper within a span of 20 minutes. Alright, now today's newspaper is July 10th, 2024's newspaper. And what were the important news items or what were the important topics that were featured in today's newspaper? Alright, so let's take a look at that and then we'll start a discussion on these topics one by one. So topic number one is Russia's highest civilian honor for PM Modi. Like we have Bharat Ratna in India, there is Order of Saint Andrew, the highest civilian honor or highest civilian award in Russia, and that has been given to Prime Minister Modi. As you guys know, Prime Minister Modi is recently in Russia. Okay, so this order or this highest award was conferred upon him. Then India has decided to sign and ratify High Seas Treaty. Now this is United Nations High Seas Treaty. So what is this treaty all about? What is its purpose? And why did India decide to sign and ratify it? We'll talk about that. Then recently, ANI, a news organization, has actually filed a petition against Wikipedia. Okay? And because of this petition, a provision in Information Technology Act called Safe Harbour Clause got in the news. Okay, so we'll talk about the Safe Harbour Clause and what is this case that ANI has filed against Wikipedia. Okay, and in the end, RBI recently released Financial Inclusion Index, and there is some good news with respect to financial inclusion in our country. So we'll talk about this Financial Inclusion Index also. Okay, so without further ado, let's start with topic number one: Russia's highest civilian honor for PM Modi. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was awarded Russia's highest civilian honor, the Order of Saint Andrew the Apostle. The award for the PM was announced in 2019. So the award was announced in 2019, but because since 2019, this is the first time that Prime Minister has visited Russia. So that is why this award was given to him in 2024, but though it was announced in 2019. The award is given for exceptional services in promoting special and privileged strategic partnership between Russia and India and friendly relations between Russian and Indian people. So it is for this purpose that this award has been conferred upon Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now let's talk about this award. Okay, about the award. It looks like this. Okay, the name of the award comes from Saint Andrew. Now, Saint Andrew was one of the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ. Now, Jesus Christ had 12 disciples, which are known as the 12 apostles. Jesus Christ's death, these 12 apostles were responsible for traveling throughout the world and spreading Christianity. Okay, so Saint Andrew was one of the apostles of Jesus Christ. Now, Saint Andrew, the apostle, is very famous in Russia, is very highly regarded in Russia and Scotland. In Russia, he is called the greatest saint. Okay, and that is why Tsar Peter the Great. Okay, Russia was under Tsardom. Okay, so Tsar Peter, who was the king of Russia between 1672 to 1725, he established this award called the Order of Saint Andrew in 1698. Though after Russian Revolution happened in 1917 under Vladimir Lenin. Okay, and Russian Revolution actually abolished Tsar's rule or Tsardom. Okay, and because of that, all the symbols that were related to the Tsar rule, they were abolished. And Order of Saint Andrew was one such symbol. First of all, Lenin was a communist. This was a communist revolution, and communists do not believe in religion. So that is why they had no religious. Saint Andrew did not have any religious significance. Communist. Okay, so after Russian Revolution in 1917, in 1918, this civilian honor, this order was abolished. But when communist rule got finished in Russia in 1991, after 7 years after that, in 1998, this order was re-established. So this award ceremony was re-established in 1998. Okay. Now, which types of people receive this award? Who are eligible for this award? Well, this award is given to prominent government and public figures of Russia, military leaders of Russia, outstanding representatives of science, culture, art, various sectors of economy for exceptional service to Russia. Much like Bharat Ratna. Bharat Ratna is India's highest civilian award. It is also given for these contributions only. Okay, it can be also awarded to heads of foreign states. So, Order of Saint Andrew can be awarded to Russian people for their exceptional service. It can also be awarded to foreign leaders for their outstanding service to Russian Federation. Now, in the past, this award was given to Xi Jinping in 2017, and It was given to the former president of Kazakhstan called Nur Sultan Nazarbayev. He's over here. And now this award is given to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now let's talk a bit about Saint Andrew. Okay. Now, as you can see, this is Jesus Christ and his 12 apostles. One of these apostles was Saint Andrew. He, after Christ's death, he actually traveled to Russia, Greece, and other places, and he spread Christianity over there. He also established the very old church of Constantinople. Constantinople was a city which is now called Istanbul after Turkish occupation or Turkish rule over there. So back in the day, Istanbul was called Constantinople, and he established the Church of Constantinople. Later, you see, Christianity, when it started, it was united. But then, after a few hundred years, there was a split in Christianity. Okay, there was this one church that was in Vatican, Rome, and there was this another church in Constantinople. Okay, they both split. Vatican Church, or the follower of Vatican City's church, were known as Catholics. They follow Catholic Christianity, and followers of Constantinople Church are known as Orthodox. They follow Orthodox Christianity. So Russians actually are not Catholics; they follow Orthodox Christianity, and that is why they actually kind of worship Saint Andrew, because he was the one who established Church of Constantinople. But Saint Andrew is also revered in Scotland. In fact, this cross symbol on the flag of Scotland is known as Saltire. And it is believed that Saint Andrew was crucified on this type of cross. Okay, so even the flag of Scotland actually has a mark that symbolizes, or has a symbol that is related to Saint Andrew. So he's quite popular and quite revered in Russia and in Scotland, and he was the founder of Orthodox Christianity. Okay, now let's move on to next news item, which is the High Seas Treaty. India has decided to sign and ratify High Seas Treaty. Okay, the other name for this High Seas Treaty is Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdictions Agreement. Now remember, this High Seas Treaty is under United Nations. Okay, so it is called High Seas Treaty, it is called BBNJ Agreement, but its actual formal name is Agreement on Conservation and Sustainable Use of Marine Biological Diversity of Areas Beyond National Jurisdictions. Okay, now look, High Seas Treaty. Basically, the purpose of High Seas Treaty, we'll discuss its objectives, but the purpose of High Seas Treaty is to reduce marine pollution. Okay. Now, the entire oceans are divided into few parts. Okay. There are territorial waters, which lie under the jurisdiction of a particular country. They are 12 nautical miles from the coastline of a particular country. So 12 nautical miles from the beaches or coastline of India would be considered India's territory. Then there is this thing called exclusive economic zone. Okay, it actually extends up to 200 nautical miles from India's coastline or any other country's coastline. Now, exclusive economic zone is not India's territory or any other country's territory, but the control over economic resources from these waters lies with India. That is why it is known as exclusive economic zones. And oceans or seas beyond 200 nautical miles are known as high seas or international waters. No country has sovereignty over international waters. International waters is nobody's territory. High seas is nobody's territory. Okay? Territorial waters is, exclusive economic zone is, but international waters are nobody's territory. Now, these international waters comprise 61% of the world's oceans. And this High Seas Treaty actually seeks to reduce marine pollution in these areas. Because since they are under nobody's control, there is indiscriminate pollution and nobody is held responsible for pollution in these areas. So that is why this High Seas Treaty has been negotiated, so that all countries are responsible for reducing pollution in these areas, which are under nobody's control. Okay? That's what High Seas Treaty is all about. Now, what are the objectives of this treaty? There are four objectives. Number one, conservation and protection of marine ecology. Then, fair and equitable sharing of benefits, marine resources, benefits that arise out of marine resources. So there should be fair and equitable distribution of these benefits to different countries. Okay. Establishment of practice of mandatory environment impact assessment for any project in these areas. Okay, so there should be a mandatory environmental impact assessment before starting of any project in these high seas areas. There should be environmental impact assessment report. And the fourth important objective is capacity building and transfer of marine technologies to developing countries. Now remember, this treaty only governs high seas. Okay, which is the region beyond 200 nautical miles from the coastline of different countries. Okay, it only is concerned with high seas. All right. Now, look, this treaty would come under another international law which was passed in 1982, which is known as UN clause, United Nations Convention on Laws of Sea. So it is basically an international law known as the Laws of Sea. Okay. Under this, all the international waters and all the territorial waters are governed by this international law. All right. So everything is governed by this 1982 international law. India has also signed and ratified it. Almost every other country has signed and ratified it. In fact, the definition of territorial waters, exclusive economic zone, international waters is given in this international law. Now, when this law will get enforced, this high seas treaty, it is currently not enforced. So as soon as this high seas treaty gets started or gets enforced, when a significant number of people or significant number of countries have signed it and ratified it, then it will be enforceable. And this high seas treaty would function as an agreement under UN clause. So remember this, UN high seas treaty will function under UN clause, but that would only happen when enough people or enough countries have ratified it. Okay. Now this high seas treaty basically wants to protect marine ecology, and it will establish marine protected areas. Okay, like we have national parks, wildlife sanctuaries on land, there shall be marine protected areas. Now, mostly marine protected areas are in territorial waters or exclusive economic zones, and these are the responsibilities of those particular governments or countries. But since international waters are nobody's responsibility, hence marine protective areas or not many marine protective areas are in international waters. So this high seas treaty basically wants to or tries to protect international waters by establishing marine protected areas in these international waters. And it would be everyone's responsibility, all the signatories and ratifiers, it would be their responsibility to protect these marine protected areas. Okay. Now this was a screenshot. I took this screenshot from the newspaper of Indian Express. It has given various facts. Like by 2050, there will be more plastic by weight in ocean than fish. So it's a very worrisome news. Okay, marine protected areas are important to achieve 30-30 target under Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, which seems to protect degraded coastal and marine ecosystems by 2030. All right, so this information is important for you. I have attached the screenshot in the notes of this lecture. The notes are available on our Telegram channel, and the link to our Telegram channel would be in the comment section below. So make sure you check that out. All right. Now let's move on to third news item, which is the Safe Harbour Clause. Now, news agency Asian News International (ANI) has moved Delhi High Court against Wikipedia for allowing allegedly defamatory content on ANI's Wikipedia page. So basically, ANI says that our Wikipedia page has defamatory content, which actually is false and defamatory towards us. Now, Wikipedia has not actually rectified that, made amendments to that, and that is why we are seeking 2 crore in damages from this defamation of ANI by Wikipedia. Okay. Now the problem is that Wikipedia, though it started in 2001, it's actually an open source platform. That means the content posted on Wikipedia is not posted by Wikipedia, but it is posted by users of Wikipedia. So if users of Wikipedia are providing false information, then these users should be prosecuted, not Wikipedia. For example, I post something defamatory on Facebook, or I post something bad on Facebook, which is against Indian law. So why should Facebook be prosecuted? I should be prosecuted for that. Facebook is just a platform, okay, where different people actually post what is on their minds. Facebook shouldn't be liable for this, okay? Users should be, right? That's the system, okay? And Wikipedia is also alleging that. Now, any bad thing which is against Indian law, if it's posted on any social media platform, then social media platforms are not liable for this. And this protection given to social media platforms is known as safe harbor clause. So under safe harbor clause, social media intermediaries, so these are called social media intermediaries like Facebook, Google, not yeah, Google also, Instagram, Twitter. So these social media intermediaries are actually protected from anything bad or any content that is against Indian law. They shall not be prosecuted. These social media intermediaries are protected from that. Only the person who has posted that content will be prosecuted, and this protection is known as safe harbor clause. So Wikipedia is saying that we are protected under the safe harbor clause. So how can ANI prosecute us? Okay. Now, what are the arguments presented by ANI? ANI says that Wikipedia, yes, is a significant social media intermediary. And the definition for social media intermediary is given in Section 2, Clause 1, Subclause W of Information Technology Act in India. So, who will be classified or categorized as social media intermediaries is given in Information Technology Act. Plus, ANI has said that Safe Harbor, the protections under Safe Harbor for social media intermediaries are provided for in Section 79 of Information Technology Act. Okay, so Information Technology Act Section 79 says that safe harbor provision shall be applicable to the social media intermediaries, but in certain cases, this clause won't be applicable on social media intermediaries, which means that there are certain conditions that these social media intermediaries have to fulfill. If they don't fulfill those conditions, well, then these social media intermediaries won't receive the protections of safe harbor. Now, what are these conditions? Okay. First of all, if an intermediary modifies any information contained in the message, so for example, I posted something on Facebook and Facebook modified it, then Facebook will also be liable. If these intermediaries do not fulfill or follow intermediary guidelines and digital media ethics code of Government of India actually came up with rules. And if these social media platforms follow these rules, well, then safe harbor protections would be taken away from them. Section 79, Clause 3 states that protection will not apply if the intermediary, despite being informed by the government or its agencies, does not immediately remove or disable access to material in the question. So, for example, someone on Instagram posts pornographic material, okay, and that material is available. Now, that pornographic material is against Indian laws. So, who will be prosecuted for that? Well, the person who has posted that material will be prosecuted, not Instagram. But then Government of India actually calls on Instagram and tells them to remove that content. And if Instagram does not remove that content, then Instagram will also be prosecuted. Then safe harbor protections for Instagram won't be applicable. So if government asks you to remove any bad content which is in contravention of Indian law, and if you fail to do so, then safe harbor protections won't be applicable to you. Plus, if these social media platforms also tamper with any evidence on these posts, then also safe harbor protections are not applicable to them. Now, ANI has said that Wikipedia actually modified our amendments. So there was something bad written about ANI on a Wikipedia page, and Wikipedia tried to modify that. They posted some amendments, but Wikipedia, ANI posted some amendments to try to clean their image, but Wikipedia actually did not follow through and they did not allow those amendments to be posted. So that is why they have, in a way, modified their content, and hence, safe harbor provisions shouldn't be applicable on them. So that is the entire case. All right. Now, let's move on to our last news item, which is Financial Inclusion Index. Financial Inclusion Index of RBI stood at 64.2 in March 2024. It increased from 60.1 in March 2023. Now, the improvement as per RBI is because all the sub-indices under this index showed improvement. Now, let's talk a bit about Financial Inclusion Index. So, this index was developed by RBI in 2021, and unlike all the other indices have a base year, like Consumer Price Index, Wholesale Price Index. They all have a base year, Index for Industrial Production. But Financial Inclusion Index does not have any base year. Now, a score is given from 0 to 100 in this Financial Inclusion Index. And if your score is closer to 100, that means financial inclusion is good. If it's close to 0, then financial inclusion is Not that good. Okay, so 0 represents complete incomplete. So where 0 represents incomplete financial, sorry, 0 represents, yeah, 0 or a score closer to 0 represents complete financial exclusion, and 100 indicates financial inclusion. So 0 is bad, 100 is good. Okay, now what are the parameters in this index? So financial inclusion index comprises of three broad parameters. First of all, and specific weights are attached to these parameters. So financial services, the access to financial services is given 35% weight. How many people use these financial services is given 45% weight, and the quality of these financial services is given 20% weight. And on the basis of these weightages, financial inclusion index is calculated. Okay, so these are the parameters on the basis of which 0 to 100 a score is given in financial inclusion index, and these are their respective weights. Now these parameters are evaluated on the basis of 97 indicators. So just remember, this as financial inclusion indicator index has three parameters, and to calculate these three parameters there are in total 97 indicators. All right, and with that, we come to an end to this lecture. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation, though it would add more value to your entire UPSC preparation and current affairs in particular if you follow this lecture series regularly. All right, I'll be signing off, and I'll see you next time with 11th July 2024's newspaper. Thank you, everyone.